If you're someone out there who's been applying for developer jobs for months and months and months and just wondered what is going on, I've not heard a yes, a no, or anything. Are these jobs even real? Well, have a look at this review that I do for a student of mine called Maria. I go through her whole application process, a resume, a GitHub, a LinkedIn, even the 3 latest jobs she's applied for, and I review where she is so far. Now, keep in mind, we've had some of these reviews on and off beforehand, so she's done a few of these things already, but I'm going to go completely and go and review her whole process. So this is a great video. Make sure to save the link and bookmark it because I'm sure it will be useful in the future. So go take a look. This is Maria's application process that I'm going to review. Hey Maria, we're just going to go over these job applications you've made. So we're just going to go over a few things now. Having a look at the GitHub, it looks great. I think this is really personable and it really stands out to a hiring manager. It shows what your core skills are. Now, one thing I will note is the currently learning might be a little off-putting, just because when they hire someone, they're looking to hire someone to hit the ground running. And that's because it usually takes about 3 years for a junior developer to essentially give a return on investment to the company that's training them. Because when they first hire a junior developer, they're not really making money on them. They're not really getting a return on investment because they're not that particularly useful at the very start. It's the same for every junior developer. So the bar for entry is a little higher. So what I would say is make sure that React and TypeScript are skills that you have as your core skills or down as your core skills, even if you haven't fully learned them, because really who truly does master React and TypeScript? There's probably not many people. Everyone knows React and TypeScript to a certain level. So at this point, you will know React and TypeScript to a certain level. Might not be to a masterful level, or a senior level, but you still know React and TypeScript. So I'll put that in your core skills, and all your skills vary in skill wise, so don't worry about it too much. One of the reasons is I want to reduce this whole tech stack area a little bit, because I see you've got here tools, Git and VS Code. I wouldn't worry about that. That's not important to a hiring manager. In fact, you could probably get rid of these 2 sections and add React and TypeScript up here, and it'd be perfect. I'd probably look at adding maybe Tailwind CSS or something like that, or some other skills here that would be quite appealing, that would stand out. So that is what I would say there. And the reason why you would reduce it, because if you look here, your pinned is right at the very bottom. Now I've got a very large monitor, so you can see that, but on most laptops, you will not see this. You want to tease your pinned projects because that's really, really important. So reducing the size of this bio really, really does help. So anything you don't need in here, you can remove. For example, you've got this large text here. You don't need this. That's your username. You can delete this straight away. These 2 sections here, you can delete straight away. Hi there, you might not even need that. So have a think about how to reduce this section, tidy it up, remove anything that's not needed, and kind of look at things from the lens of a hiring manager. Now, if we look down here, these pinned projects are pretty good. However, we've got here React and TypeScript, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now, there's plenty of JavaScript projects, there's plenty of CSS projects and HTML projects, but we don't have any React and TypeScript projects aside from this one. Now, this project here is, I think, 2 years old last time I checked. So if I click this now, wait for it to load, it says 2 years ago this was last updated, so it's quite old. What we need here is a recent React project to go up here. I would also add to your core skills as Next.js, because Next.js is endgame stuff. That is what hiring managers will be interested in hiring you on. So you need React, TypeScript, and Next.js projects in your pinned here. Very, very important. I would rearrange this. I would add new projects to it. If you haven't got those projects, start planning them out. Start planning the creation of those projects. And that's going to help you learn a lot. I used to learn a lot from doing personal projects, so that could be a good one. All right, let's jump into your LinkedIn. So your LinkedIn is pretty good. I would maybe change this. I mean, it's a nice picture. It's a happy picture. But yeah, if you've got sort of a more professional one, not to say that's not professional, but more where you can see more of your shoulders, more of your head height. So you see some of these, you can generally see shoulders, and it gives you kind of like a better view of you. It's more of a professional setting, less zoomed in, and that tends to be the kind of style on LinkedIn. So you just have a look at any of these other profile pictures. It's usually a bit zoomed out. But if we jump into it, front-end engineer, that's fantastic. And everything here is geared towards front-end engineering. So I'm pretty happy with this. You're in the front-end now boot camp. You've got recommendations. Yeah, this is a pretty good LinkedIn profile. So great job. This is really good. Yeah, that is fine. Now, I want us to have a look. All right. So straight away, I can see that you've got your LinkedIn and GitHub and everything right at the very start. That's fine. You've got a little professional summary. Associate web engineer with, yeah. So we've got technical skills as well. And now here we go into the experience. So associate web engineer, freelance developer, April 2025, present 1+ year. Created web and mobile application front-end code for 5+ clients. Okay, all right. So having a look at this, I can see this is quite confusing to me. So let's put it in the mindset that I'm a hiring manager and I'm looking at this. I have all of this information, which is great and it's useful. This is not useful to me. This is not useful to me because problem solving, team collaboration, rapid learning, quality focus doesn't mean anything. Everyone would argue that they have these skills when they're applying for a job. Development practices, testable code. What does that mean? Do you create tests? Do you write tests? Is your code testable in what way? Because all code is testable, technically. But are you writing tests? So this is problematic here. Best practices. Well, everyone would argue that they write best practices. Version control. That is a useful one to put down. But there are different types of version control. Git is not the only one. So you would have to put Git version control here. Debugging, again, that's a very general statement. Every programmer is debugging when they find a problem. So again, you have to look at what you're giving to the hiring manager. And are you giving them something that they can use, or are you giving them something that they're having to sift through? Like imagine you're dropping a hiring manager into a jungle, right? Have you cleared the space? Have you made it very visible to them what the key points are in the landscape that they need to pay attention to? Or have you made it quite difficult by having lots of vegetation, lots of forest everywhere with this here, these two down here, and then all of this before you get to any kind of... I don't think we get to any kind of experience. I think these are just all bullet points on just, I guess, best to have practices. Then we have the education down here, which can be useful, and it's good that you put it at the very end. That's how I would do it. However, this is how really it should be. So put CV. There we go. This CV here, if I make this a little bigger. And by the way, all your docs that you're writing for your resume, covering letters, make sure you put them into Google Docs going forward. This is the best place to access it because you can just simply send them the link rather than getting them to download the file, because getting them to download the file is annoying. But if they can click a link, access the document online in the browser, that makes life a lot easier, because then they have to have a program to be able to view it locally on their computer, which is not fun. So you've got to reduce the ways you're annoying the hiring manager, and using Google Docs is one of them. Now, anyway, if you look at the way I've arranged this here, I've put everything on a single line, made it very, very simple and very easy to digest with the eye, as weird as the saying that is, what, my important details are. I'm not taking lots of room on the screen, like, 20% of the screen. I'm literally taking up, 5% of the screen, if that. Jump straight into experience, no fluff, no messing around. This is what they want to know. What experience do I have? Because that's what they care about. So this is what I did, and this is all the stuff that I achieved whilst I was doing that. This isn't nice to haves. This isn't information that would be aspirational. This is literally hard facts. This is what I did on this project. This is what I did in this team. This is what I did at this company. And then it's just all of that. So if in your circumstances, because you don't have the experience, if you do, that's great. But what I would put down here is projects that you've done, freelance projects you've done, and all the things that you did, maybe in about 5 to 10 bullet points at most. And that's enough, You probably want about 3 or 4 projects on here. And ideally, because you're a junior, you need to fit this on a single page. Now, I'm a lead software engineer, and I've just about spilled onto 2 pages. As a junior, you need to be able to stay on 1 page, because really you need to give them a flavor of who you are, what your experience is, what your skills are, what you've worked on just before joining them. You need to give them a snapshot into your skills. And then at the very bottom, you have skills, you have your social presence if you've got it, so GitHub, LinkedIn, etc. Or if you've got a Medium blog, a Twitter, YouTube, then your education. So this is the format that I would use. And if you want a copy of this, just reach out, send me a DM, and I'll send this over to you. But otherwise, this is how I would lay it out. Don't make the hiring manager work. Put it on Google Docs. Make it a clickable link. Don't make them have to download something locally, and just reduce the absolute amount of writing they have to read that is unnecessary. So that is resumes out the way. I want to have a look at your covering letters, because I get an idea of what your resumes are. By the way, I like the fact that you have custom resumes and custom covering letters. That is very, very important. That's a good skill that you have. Okay. So, first thing I notice is that there are spelling mistakes. So, Dear Adaptive or AI Adaptive, and then really that should be team. So first impressions are attention to detail, not great. And they're going to be put off by that. So anything you send to a hiring manager, anything you send to a team in general, whether it's a project, whether it's your covering letter, has to be immaculate. On mobile, desktop, tablet, the spelling and grammar have to be immaculate, because all these things give an idea of your attention to detail, give an idea of who you are as a person, as a professional, and very key point, the professional. So you need to make sure that these are all in good working order. So moving on, I am writing to express my enthusiastic interest. Okay, so first thing here, when you're approaching a job, and this is something I learned a long time ago, you cannot come across in a tone, and don't take offense to this, in a beggy tone. So you're very much as, what can this job do for me? What can you do for me? Me. It has to be, what can I do for you? When you start adapting that tone, that completely changes the dynamic between you and the hiring manager and the company you're going for. You go from, please, this is charity, please help me out. It would be really good if you help me out, and I'm really excited to do it, to, I'm going to come in and I'm going to achieve this for your company. I'm going to build these projects for you. I have these skills. I think I can do a really good job, and I think I'd be a very good fit because I can do this project for you based off what you've written in the job specification. That's the level of tone we need to go for. Obviously, what this is my enthusiastic interest. I'm probably buying into it, a bit too hard, saying this is beggy, but whether that is or not, that's just a good bit of advice to have as you're writing this, to understand the tone that you need to write your covering letter in. So my background aligns well with you, front-end engineer. So this is all very good. So you're tying into what they're talking about. Now I'm looking at the size of this. This is quite large. But built multiple web applications using modern JavaScript. Now, whenever you say you've done something, whenever you claim anything in a covering letter, you cannot just state it as fact, in the sense that you don't back it up with examples. You have to give an example when you say that you can do something or say that you know something. In a covering letter, it's incredibly important to back anything up you say with evidence. So once you do that, 3 times or 4 times in a covering letter, that usually puts the message across to them, okay, this person has experience, or they have the ability to do this project for us or this job. And then if you do the whole thing in that tone, they're going to be put off probably by this section. They won't read any further. So everything you do has to be backed up by an example or some kind of experience you've had in the past. That's the only way people are going to carry on reading. By now, a hiring manager would have stopped reading and gone off to the next application. And then they certainly wouldn't have read all of this. So we have to be very good with the use of time that we have of a hiring manager. We have to be very resourceful and use the space. I would always keep on one page with a covering letter. Try to keep on one page. Like if you go over a page on a covering letter, it's too long. So that is the goal. Try to give as many examples as possible. And yeah, that's what I would do. So yeah, I can see it goes on. You start talking about your degree. So yeah, things like this, ability to create innovative web solutions. So these sentences don't mean anything to a hiring manager. So my advice to you is back everything up with examples, and make sure that the spelling is absolutely immaculate. Try and keep it as short as possible, probably just 3 paragraphs at most. And yeah, that's what I would say. I imagine the rest are going to be the same as this. So that's my advice for your GitHub. That's my advice for your resume, and this is my advice for your covering letters. I hope that was useful, Maria. But if you adapt all of these things, these will completely transform your fortune when you're applying, and it will give you a much better set of results. So please do adopt those. And yeah, any questions, let me know. And that's and thank you for sending all this.